Have you ever watched or seen something that sent shivers down your spine? A portrayal of emotion so strong that the only thing you could do was stand in awe and let emotions consume you? Whether it's a movie, a book, or a game, media as a whole can make us feel emotions through visual, sounds, or text. What I want to talk about here is about those special moments that portray human emotions so perfectly that they make me lose myself in those worlds. In Pathologic 2, your start is very unusual. You appear in a theater. At the end of the game, where it seems like you messed up the whole play, the play director says the first attempt was a complete failure. You made poor decisions and people died. Your acting was bad. You then suddenly appear in a different version of the theater, the version of the first attempt. Now it has turned into a treating center for the sick, contaminated by a mysterious plague. The air is dense and filled with despair. Going outside, these feelings intensify. The screams of agony of the people get louder, corpses on every corner, the townsfolk getting burned and executed by the military. You know what is going to happen to this town. The whole path perfectly shows humanity in a situation of complete terror and despair. You can feel the emotions of the people going through that horrific moment. Man and woman getting shot and killed, some crippled by the plague, piercing your ears with their screams, and the children still playing, oblivious of the fate their lives are going to meet. The music, the visuals of the whole thing just make me feel goosebumps on my body. This introduction really comes to show what will happen if you fail in your mission to cure the plague, as your main objective throughout the game will be to prevent this outcome from coming into reality in 12 days, so you don't have to witness death in its most raw form ever again. Another case of a game exploring this more troublesome emotion is Celeste. Anxiety is an emotion everyone feels every now and then, but in some cases it can become a real problem and struggle for many. Madeline is one of them. Many things come and go in life, however, one thing that will always be with you is your own mind. For better or worse, that will be something you can't leave behind. If you are in a good headspace, you will probably be your own best friend. On the other hand, if you are not in the best mind space, it really can be cock and ball torture. Your mind will haunt you wherever you go, constantly worrying about everything and anything, coming up with fake scenarios with the worst outcomes, doubting that you can achieve anything meaningful. In Madeline's case, these intensified feelings gain physical form, being this goth doppelganger of the player character, which is constantly telling you to give up. She keeps appearing in moments of fragility and escalating situations, making Madeline have panic attacks, lash out and make her feel small and incompetent. In Chapter 4, you encounter Theo, a fellow climber. You two decide to go together on the tram. Unexpectedly, halfway the chasm, the tram stalls, making Madeline start to worry. Suddenly, a panic attack. The calm piano transforms into an alarm beat, getting louder and louder. Darkness begins to surround you. The space around feels smaller. Breathing starts getting more difficult. But then, a feather. You try breathing slowly in and out, following said feather. The beep starts to fade away, and the calm piano comes back. This is one scene where we follow Madeline into this spiral of worry and anxiety. While playing, I could feel my heart accelerating, thinking of what was going to happen, and promptly calming down as the scene and Madeline started to overcome that stressing moment. It plays out flawlessly, the visuals, and most impressively, the music. The soundtrack, rightfully named Anxiety, really transmits this overwhelming emotion in a very good way. The way it gets louder, the fadeaway back to Madeline's theme is just chef's kiss. Okay, but why? Why do we see these virtual worlds, characters, and we connect and get affected by what is going on in there? One explanation for this occurrence is something called narrative transportation. This 2024 article says that narrative transportation is an experiential state of immersion in which all mental processes are concentrated on the events occurring in the narrative, which in other words is when you are in a state of complete focus on the events happening in said narrative. In this case, the games use the visuals, like the people getting killed in Pathologic 2, the music when Madeline is having the panic attack, for example, or even the dialogue in some cases to make you kind of forget about the things around you so you can start living in that world they are creating. Another possible explanation is because you are human. No! Some psychologists say that prior knowledge can help to get you immersed in a narrative. As human beings, we experience emotions, either good or bad. Anxiety kicking in because of a school exam, getting happy because you are hanging out with friends, or even the fear of losing someone important. As social creatures, we struggle and connect with other struggles too. So when we have spent quite some time getting to know Madeline and we see her have a panic attack, we can't help it but get worried about her and start feeling anxious with her, or even show empathy towards her situation due to perhaps having similar experiences to her. I tend to talk more about games on this channel. Despite that, I want to make an exception. I'm going to talk about a scene from a movie called Look Back. In this story, we follow a girl called Fujino, who draws manga for her 4th grade newspaper. She receives a lot of praise from the people around her, especially because of her drawings. In her small little bubble, she thinks she's the best and no one compares to her. However, one day that bubble exploded. A teacher asked Fujino if she could let a manga slot for Kyomoto, a student that can't attend school due to her social anxiety. Fujino accepts the offer, saying an amateur couldn't do much. When the time of the next newspaper arrives, she's absolutely shocked. Those are not the drawings of a simple amateur. The whole class and Fujino realize that her drawings do not compare to the ones of Kyomoto, beginning to question everything. For the first time, realizing she's not as talented as she thought and how the people around her said she was. She runs and runs, fueled by anger, frustration and jealousy, starting a 1-year period of constant training, trying to show everyone and herself that she's still good at drawing. But once she saw another manga from Kyomoto, a big sense of dread and defeat fell over her. All that studying, all that effort just to be beaten again and no one acknowledging what she has done all this time. At that moment, she quit drawing. We then see Fujino's life, the pride of makes herself her. No drawing, just a kid's mundane life. Until the last day of school, where she's tasked to give Kyomoto her diploma, unaware of the changes that are about to happen to her understanding of art and herself. Arriving at Kyomoto's home, she is overwhelmed by the amount of sketchbooks scattered around the hallway, and among that pile of artwork and dedication, something sparks her dormant passion, using a strip of paper to draw again after so long. In an unexpected way, the strip of paper slips under the door, making Kyomoto reveal herself and make a surprising revelation. All this time, she was a fan of Fujino's work and kept collecting copies of her drawings. She acknowledges her efforts, noticing her growth throughout the years, supporting and praising her with just an incredibly naive nature. And so, after hearing that, this scene plays out. Not knowing what to do with her emotions, she runs, she slaps and stomps the water puddles, letting out physical demonstrations of her happiness, her anguish of years of nothing, her anger, her excitement of finally having someone who sees her. I think this scene plays out amazingly. We see this kid grow, try to be appreciated by doing something she truly loves, but not being seen at all until Kyomoto, her self-proclaimed rival for so many years, appeared to show her that at least one person knows how hard she has worked, making her feel such a mix of feelings that she could only run and run, reaching home and beginning to draw again. Now, you probably have seen this scene somewhere. Out of context, this might seem like bad voice acting, but it really isn't. It's a beautiful scene demonstrating happiness, awkwardness, and relief. In Final Fantasy X, our boy Tidus wakes up in a world completely different to its own. His city was allegedly destroyed 1000 years ago due to sin, a massive calamity that can be defeated but not permanently. Since the incident 1000 years ago that destroyed Tito's city and apparently transported him into the future, the people around Spira have been subjected to its wrath. The only ones who can defeat Sin are people called summoners, who go through a pilgrimage across Spira, collecting powerful beings called Aeons and getting enough power to eventually banish Sin for 10 years. This cycle is constant. One defeats Sin, and a period named the Calm starts, where for 10 years everyone is saved from Sin until he comes back again. On this cycle that Titus got himself into, he meets a summoner called Yuna. He agrees to be one of her guardians and possibly find a way back home. Meeting the two younger members, they get together very well and start developing a pretty wholesome relationship. Both with their struggles of trying to meet everyone's expectations that are being put on them because of their highly successful fathers, trying to cope with how overwhelming the world is. Thetis is still coming to terms that he was torn from his world, and Yuna having the literal fate of her world on her shoulders. As the narrative develops, we see them grow closer, finding solace in each other's company and worlds. The interactions are warm and light. When Thetis discovers that his father didn't just go grab some milk and is in fact Sin itself, this information really gets to him. So that scene of him laughing in context was Yuna's idea to cheer him up, asking him to force a laugh and promptly joining him in the weirdness. And right after, sharing a genuine laugh together of how awkward and weird that situation was. This scene just shows a tiny moment of genuine happiness. Two friends in a broken world, still trying to figure out everything. Despite that, they still support one another, making you fall in love with their relationship, wishing this moment never ends. Games and media as a whole can really get to you, making you feel things that you never knew some pixels could ever do, using everything at their disposal to create beautiful stories that portray emotions and characters like nothing else. The visuals, the music, the build-up of the narrative are done so well that you ended up feeling and living in those worlds, even if for just a moment.